We don't want to feel that numbness. We don't even want to go past the numbness, because underneath that, we're afraid of what we might find. Because underneath that is loneliness, is grief. Underneath that is guilt and shame, and just a lack of understanding as to why you're here. You cannot be numb when you live in the extraordinary place that is this earth. Hi and welcome. You've arrived here because you're feeling numb. Numbness would be the absence of all feeling, whether that's emotions, whether it's joy, whether it's sadness, whether it's grief, vitality, a sense of meaning, a sense of purpose. So probably every day feels like Groundhog Day. Stay with me. The next 30 minutes or so is really going to be an invitation for you to hear things differently. And maybe hear things you've never heard before, a perspective that might just open a door to something new. So first of all, I'm just going to say this is not your fault. It's nobody's fault to feel this way, because we live in an environment, we live in a society that does numb us down, that distracts us from life itself, the organic feeling of holding light and vitality and curiosity and openness and expansion. Just the joy of simply being alive. So we've been distracted. We've been distracted by our digital world. We've been distracted by shopping. We've been distracted by gambling. We've been distracted by Netflix. We've been distracted by scrolling. We've been distracted by complete overwhelm, 24/7, speed, concrete environment. Oh, and everything that goes with that. You know, stress, anxiety, everything, the intensity of relationships, until the point of, what is this all about? It's just the biggest topic that it's just so important. Because your body, this remarkable technology that is your body, is somehow standing over there as you're listening to this. It's walked out of your life, or you've left it. And it's the most important piece of the jigsaw puzzle for you moving forward. Because there is your doorway to a different life. So I had to learn this really, really early. And when I say early, I was 25, right? And I'm 70 now, so we're going back a long way, okay? And I was newly married. I had the job. I had the prospects. I had a really good life sort of rolling out before me. And I was numb. I wasn't sleeping. I was obviously depressed, feeling very, very alone, could not articulate what was going on. But I remember one day sitting there going, if I continue on like this, I may as well be dead. I just felt nothing. When I was supposed to, at that age, be feeling everything. And again, these are in the days when we didn't have the whole digital world. So even then, something was stirring within me that I didn't have words for, that I didn't have any assistance for. I had to try and work it out myself. And the only capacity I had was actually to turn inwards and listen. And yeah, from that point, I did change everything in my life. I did leave my marriage. I did leave my job. And I set off on a trajectory which was to uncover and to excavate who I really am, why I came, what this body was for, why am I here? Now, back then, you know, like the early 80s, when somebody does that, it's like, oh, well, we got a live one here. Let's medicate, right? So I escaped that, which was really good, and then had to set about it on my own. And so let's fast forward 45 years. This time has been about enormous exploration of what makes we humans tick, what it is to be alive. Knowing that we're all unique, knowing that we all came with a completely different story, with a completely different set of things to unpack, different set of circumstances that we create for ourselves, but all leading to the same place, if you're listening to this, of who am I really when everything else falls away? Literally, everything else falls away. So my job now is to assist you to uncover your light, your unique signature, your light. And that's going to be a real excavation project. Okay, it's unique for everybody. So, we have a modern day dilemma. Life has never been this easy before. And yet here we sit. I'm filming this in 2026 with so much chaos, so much fear, so much coming at us on social media that no wonder we feel overwhelmed. We just want to scroll on Netflix, want to scroll on our phones. We want to go shopping. We want to have another glass of wine. Maybe we gamble. Maybe we watch porn. Whatever it is that we do to distract ourselves so that we don't have to feel. We don't want to feel that numbness. We don't even want to go past the numbness, because underneath that, we're afraid of what we might find. Because underneath that is loneliness. Underneath that is grief. Underneath that is guilt and shame. And just a lack of understanding as to why you're here. Now, some people never get to this point, so I'm just going to say congratulations for listening, for coming here and just listening, because this is a doorway. Sometimes, ignorance is bliss. And most of the world does look pretty happy when they're engaged in all of things. Off to another restaurant, another glass of wine, off to the horses, movies, parties, work, 24/7 work, engaged in going up the ladder, okay? Work, work, work. In front of the computer, pushing it harder, maybe pushing it harder at the gym, whatever it is, so that you can actually in some way feel something, okay? So we're going to push. We're going to exert force because we've come so desensitized to feeling anything that the only way we actually have to feel now is if we exert more force and stimulation. And that takes a lot of energy, and at some point your body will break down. Your life will break down because you've stopped capacitating, accessing your life force. You're using your will, your ego to strive a way forward in this life without listening, feeling, being present, following your own internal voice that's been so uncovered or so covered up, and we're going to uncover it, but it's been so clogged up with all the external noise and all the judgments and all the shoulds and other people's voices and other people's expectations and your own expectations that you actually now have lost that little thread. And the more numb you become, the more you're just like a ship at sea, without an anchor and without a rudder and without, I don't know if ships have GPSs, but whatever that is, it's okay. So let's just bring it back. What if your capacity to feel life was the doorway for you feeling enormous vitality, enormous connection, enormous pleasure, beauty, simple pleasure, simple beauties, profound awareness, quiet grace, so that you could notice the light as it falls on a beautiful landscape. You could notice that bee over there in that flower. You could notice your quiet breathing or that of your partner. You could feel internally the hum, the buzz of your body. And in that place, you could feel the resounding voice from somewhere larger that says, this is who you are, this is why you came, and I'm going to lead you along a pathway now, a new trajectory to a different life, your new life, through the vehicle that is your body. So what if your body became your very best friend? What if your body had been here all along and you just ignored it? You just pushed it over there. You judged it. So anywhere where we judge our body as wrong, we can't be present in our lives. We're continually trying to fix it. And I know this so well. It's been my own experience. I was one of those people that dieted incessantly for 25 years. I was trying to fix myself and improve myself. I judged my body as wrong all the time. Now, this is not unique. This is so common. And in doing so, I detached myself from the very vehicle via which I was to receive life. So take that bit in. What if your body was a receiver? You see, our bodies are like electrical systems, and they are in fact receivers. So if we switch them off, we're not going to receive anything unless we up the pressure and we up the pushing and the striving. Sensitivity is a human gift. We came here, this is such a beautiful thing. And I have to go large at this point. I have to say we are so much more than our bodies. And if you come to me and you're listening here, you'll start to realize why. Because we don't live inside our bodies. Our bodies live inside us. We are part of a larger energetic field. And our body, our unique bodies, are our cat's whiskers, our GPS, our receiver, and a transmitter. And they are it's like this guidance system that tells us how we're doing. It's all been designed so that our body itself feels emotions. And all of those emotions have a frequency. And so those are just signposts to guide us along our way as we're here on this earth. So if you can't feel those, again, you've lost that GPS. So let's unpack what that would look like if you did. So let's just say we were able to unpack it to the point where you could start feeling some emotions. Just remember, everybody is here having a human experience. We all go through this. And it's when we actually don't process those emotions, or we shove them under the carpet and we move on. And what happens is we accumulate them. We accumulate them in our body and around our body. And it weighs us down to the point of overwhelm, to the point of, I just don't want to feel this anymore. Autopilot. So if we start to address each of those charges in your field, the grief, the shame, the guilt, it's not a coincidence that the whole marketing system in this world, everything to do with social media, will shame you for not looking a certain way, behaving a certain way, and this is men too. Okay, because we all now have to have the perfect body, apparently. So what if the perfect body was just the one you're now carrying with you? And what if you listened to it very carefully? What secrets would it reveal? So let's say that gradually we begin to lighten the load. So the shame, the grief, the failure that you had, 10 years ago when your business failed, the loneliness that you're feeling because you lost that relationship, your marriage ended. The doubts that you have, the judgments that you have continually, that voice in your head. What if all that stopped? What if all that fell away? And there was just you, without any of that heaviness. What sort of choices would you make about your life then? Whose voice would you listen to then? This is the importance of our body, because our body is like this huge, there's something like, whether it's 50, whether it's 70 trillion cells. We are a huge electrical field. The intelligence in this system is beyond anything that anybody can map. And you know what we do? We outsource it. We go to somebody else for them to tell us what we're to do with our body that overrides that internal voice. So we medicate. We now measure with all the data, with all the apps, with all the biohacking. We're measuring it. And in that measurement, we're judging it, and we're trying to just sort of, I don't know, whatever the hacking bit is, but we're just externally trying to fix it without actually asking its super intelligence what it wants. So your will, our whatever you want to call it, if you parked that and you came from a place of humility, and you came from a place of deep respect, what might you uncover then about this amazing technology? You see, in a lot of religions and a lot of spiritual work, on the New Age and that sort of thing, it's like, oh, I just want to leave my body. So what if it's the opposite of that? What if it's about your light, your larger self descending and inhabiting every cell in your body, so that you walk this earth as a wise, open-hearted, generous, curious person who came here to contribute to the whole, and in the process feels deeply. Can smell the perfume on the wind, can feel the sun on your back, can feel the feather touch of your lover, can sit there in solitude, purposefully in the cafe, and just savour the crema on that coffee, the care the barista took to make it, the feeling of cashmere against your skin, or just the naked exuberance of skinny dipping in a wild, salty surf, or a cold, clear stream. Just the joy of being alive, pulsating. And so in that process, as we do that and we connect to our body, we listen to it and we give it what it wants. So the stress is reduced. Our body returns to a level of homeostasis. And in that place, it actually can't get sick because it's rebalanced itself. It's operating with a level of coherence that is right for it, that is right for you. Can you imagine how you would function in your job or in your business, and then in your relationship, and as a parent? as a friend. If you could live your life from that place, people would really want to hang around you. So that's the opportunity on offer. This is a really, really, really huge topic, and this time doesn't actually do it justice. But this is the key, the very, very key doorway I first walk through with my clients. How do they feel? How do they feel about themselves? How do they feel about the situation? How do they navigate their way through the world? And most people come to me because they're at a crossroads, because they are either numb or they feel too much, which is actually turned on the numbness because they've desensitized and they've got, I can't do this anymore. So I remember working with one particular woman, and she was in really corporate, it was really, really intense work. Corporate ladder, okay. You know, the early morning meetings, the digital savvy, the all of that, you've got it, right? But she had become numb. She turned to extra wine at night. She was tired. She didn't want to get up in the morning. Her sense of life and purpose had just gone. So we worked with her. When I say we, the way I work is with a team. We worked with her to defrag everywhere where she had ignored herself, everywhere where she had actually not listened to that internal voice. And it was like everywhere where she'd disappointed somebody else, everywhere where she hadn't met up to expectations, everywhere where she had judged her body, everywhere where she had felt that her life had to go into a different trajectory, but it wasn't, everywhere where she'd had a failed relationship. She had a great wardrobe of shoes, by the way. It's fantastic, because that was her outlet. You know, was like, I can buy shoes, right? They will give me joy. You know, well, we only have 2 feet, so it's like, okay. And then she would feel the guilt as she opened her cupboard and there were all these shoes that she wasn't wearing. So it's like, okay. So we worked with her to defrag that, to actually shift all those heavy energies and judgments out of her energetic field. Until one day, and this took a few months, where she came and she said, I can't do this job anymore. I'm going to take some time off. And I'm just going to go and travel. I don't want a relationship. I don't need to be responsible for anybody else. I just need to feel me, to feel the sun on my skin, to feel the wind on my back. And then when I come back, there'll be a new life for me. So she left. A very, very, very stressful but high-flying corporate job. She had the courage to do that. Hats off to her. She knows who she is. And then there was another guy who, same thing. I mean, work. He was married. Very, very creative man. Really creative. Had enormous sensitivity. A sense of beauty and form. But he had no vehicle, no way of actually expressing that. He had the family, the kids, the pressures, the money, all of that sort of thing. So he turned to dating apps and he turned to porn. And that became his escape. Any way of feeling somebody else's approval, any way of feeling a rush, any way of feeling adrenaline, that's sort of like, I'm doing something illegal here in a way. That was what made him feel. And women do that too. So when we don't want to sit with that which is uncomfortable within ourselves, we will look outside of ourselves for a distraction. So it took a little while working with him because his alter ego was very, very, very strong. And the willingness to come through this has to be really, really high. And that's the approach I take, is to be able to have the capacity to be able to measure that before we even start. How genuine are you about moving beyond that which is feeding your ego and tantalizing and distracting you into feeling a deeper resonance within your body that may be uncomfortable and is going to take some work, but that could lead to a whole new life? Your choice. And I remember there was another woman, and when this is like archetypal, because she binged. She had an eating disorder. What is that? She couldn't feel because she had such a black hole inside her that no amount of food could ever fill. But she kept trying. So it wasn't until she worked with me and we stopped, and A, to get the voices out of her head, but B, to take on a whole different relationship with her body and with the pleasure of food. Food as pleasure. Food as nourishment. Not food as punishment. Food as nourishment. Food as sustenance for a body and a life well lived. And so when she became in touch with that, her weight dropped, the excess weight fell away. So much more energy came back into her life and vitality, because her whole life wasn't taking up with where's the next food, and then the guilt that went with that cycle. We circuit broke it. Because she couldn't have a relationship. She couldn't carry on this secret eating in a relationship, so she didn't have one. She now has one. And what she learnt too was that it wasn't the other that would fill her black hole. She learnt, or what we did through the processes that we did and the unique way that I work, we resolved that, we dissolved that black hole so there wasn't anything to fill. She actually fell in love with herself for the very first time. And from that place, she could attract somebody else who would fall in love with her for that. And she could be that in somebody else's life. And her relationship with food and her budget shifted because she didn't have to go out and buy all this food. Oh, and life just got little pleasures in it. And her life became about living. I want to talk about libido here, because we're living in a world in which people are having less sex, apparently, but maybe more sex online. If we frame sex, we take all the taboos and judgments away from it. It is an intrinsic part of human life, here for us to experience nourishment, nurturing, feeling safe, touch, pleasure, connectivity, vulnerability, the ability to be seen, to be felt, It's all of that. And what that does is that increases our telomeres, apparently. It increases our oxytocin. It's increasing, again, our capacity to feel vital, to receive everything that's out there. Because what if sex was more about receiving? And I'm going to put a real caveat on this here. It is something sacred. It is so vital to our well-being and our human expression. And yet we avoid it, or we've classed it as something taboo, or we've classed it as something illicit, we've classed it as something like a commodity. We've forgotten. We've lost touch with what it is. The presence to be with another. When two can come together as one with the most exquisite presence and laughter and joy and all those sorts of things, just to experience being alive. This is a whole other topic. But if you've switched off that capacity, you're not after it anymore, you're not looking for it anymore. You go, oh no, I've hung it up now, I don't want it anymore. Yep, that's past. You are depriving yourself of one of the richest sources of vital energy ever in this realm. So we begin with removing the shame, removing the guilt, and learning to actually feel pleasure. Whoever put those words guilty pleasure together needs, I don't know, whatever that is. I think it's a religious thing somewhere. But when we actually can feel pleasure, and I'll go back to the crema on your coffee, the ability to just savor that beautiful glass of wine or that sip of wine, to feel your feet in the ground, to feel the buzz of your body as it connects to the soil and all the intelligence and life that is in that soil. Just go and take your shoes off. Go outside and feel. So what if sex was really about being open to receive everything this realm wants to gift to you? The beauty, the fragrances, the pleasures, the care. So just some background to this, because it's such a palpable topic. And the way I approach it is we first look at, so I measure everything. I work with many charts, and I work with a phenomenal set of instruments that my company commissions, bejeweled instruments, one of a kind in the world. And it was Einstein who said you can't solve a problem from the level at which it's created. So we go high, we go large, we go vast. And that's the capacity that I have with my feet on the ground. Because what I have done is taken 45 years to go through this process myself and live at home in my body fully, inhabiting every cell without guilt, without judgment. Yeah, it is my best friend. So to get there, I had to do a lot of excavating. Fortunately, now having these instruments, we can do this a lot faster than I ever had. Okay, we're on the highway now. We're on the superhighway. And so we look at you, and I'm really simplistic here, but it's like, and I don't it's like this remarkable technology that is our body. So just liken it to your supercomputer, and it's become so heavy and it's not moving and it's all jammed up. So we have to defrag it, take it back to its factory setting, and then download the new codes. And in the defragging, we address the shame, the guilt, and even some of those that are not directly yours within this life that go down your epigenetic line and your ancestral line, we address all of those too. So that what happens is that you go, oh wow, I'm not at the effect of things anymore. Things don't upset me anymore. That what I call the pain body, because I can measure when somebody has a very, very high pain body, they're carrying a lot of charge in their field, and they're going to react. They're going to judge. And they're going to deprive. They're going to point the finger. They're going to not only deprive themselves, they'll deprive others. So as all that clears away, and there's just you, without the voices in your head, this quiet connection with you, something new can land. And as we evolve, and as our frequency gets higher, this is true frequency work, by the way. This is highly elegant, beautiful, effective work that I have developed over several decades. It is highly efficient for these times. Literally, as your frequency is elevated, and I'm measuring it all the time, and you're taking full responsibility within this as well, I'm not doing this to you, then everything changes, because your relationship with your change, with yourself, has irrevocably changed. You cannot be numb when everything is falling away or has fallen away. You cannot be numb when you live in the extraordinary place that is this earth. That is so filled with beauty, with children's laughter, with your own heartfelt, it's this area that changes so much, your own heartfelt capacity to go, oh wow, the gratitude. If you're numb, you can't feel gratitude. The gratitude for simply being alive. The gratitude that you have for being here, so you get to experience this place. Everything that it is. Okay? And what if your job was just to be able to capacitate more light, so that you became like a lighthouse for others and help them shift their light as well? Imagine what our world would shift into then. We have wars, and we have fear, and we have competition, and we have death, and we have destruction. Because all of us, and this is the hard bit for people to realize, it all begins inside. We actually do create our own reality with our own energetic field. So if we shift that, what if that helped shift the whole? So this is about taking 100% responsibility for you and your choices and how you treat your body, which will then be an example for others. There's a beautiful thing called entrainment, which is if we hold it and we ground it, we hold it no matter what, this way of living, others will be drawn to us like moths to a flame. And this is the time we're living in. This is the time we're living in. So that's the work I do. It is profoundly powerful, simple, and beautiful. But it's to lead you back to your light. It's to open the door to your new life. Not in a la-la, woo-woo, fluffy way. This is real excavating work. So, if you're going to do this sort of work, please have somebody walk alongside you who has done the work themselves. Okay? You don't need somebody who's not coherent, who's not congruent. You need somebody who's embodying their own truth, who's lived it, who's living it. Because this is strong work. You need somebody who's going to have your back as we go through this process. So that's the invitation. If you'd like to be able to feel again, if you'd like to open the door to your new life, if you'd just like to have more pleasure in your life, for things to slow down, because time is actually a construct, the faster and the more speedy way, the more it contracted, so it slows down. So you can actually smell it and touch it and feel it. So the senses come alive. This is the only realm in which we have full senses in this way. Please don't bypass the opportunity to experience them all. So if you're curious and this lands with you, please email me, d@lightandco.earth, and we can just meet online, maybe even in person, and we can just explore how the work I do might work for you. There are many ways we can approach it. So that's my invitation to you. And just before I finish, a long time ago, I wrote a book. It was 30,000 words in 3 days in a hotel room. Yeah, go figure. I don't know. And it's a book very, very close to my heart because I had to learn too. I had to go through these processes. You know, I'll just say this about the body. We live in a world where the external, and I've said this before, is just so important. And it's cruel. It's cruel to ourselves and it's cruel to others. So I'm going to leave you with these words of possibility and kindness. There's a poem in here as well by a lady called M. Claire. So I'm just acknowledging her. I'll just leave you with these words now. So I invite you to stop right now and be still. Breathe. Be the valley between your breath. And just be with your body, for it's been here all along. I wrote these words for me. And now I'm giving them to you. It has carried you from birth, been there every waking moment, washed cars, washed dishes, birthed babies, walked 1,000,000 miles, rode buses, been pummeled, penetrated, caressed, bruised, poked, shoved, pushed, glared at, squeezed, drugged, boozed, stuffed, Pilatesed, yogaed, triathloned, starved and ignored. Not once asked, body, what would you like for a change? So please read this poem, then put this book down and be with your body in stillness. So maybe just close your eyes for this. Put your hand on your heart. To love yourself, start here. Take your own hand, put it to your lips, then lay the soft of your cheek to the round of your shoulder, where the faint musk of enduring dreams and the labours of your life perfume you. It's a start. It's a beginning. Now the ache in your heart has a surface. Now thank your body for leading you home. Be the energy of gratitude for its every breath, its every heartbeat. Take as long as you like. I'll be here when you get back. There you go. So that's my invitation to you to start feeling, to start being present in your life again, maybe for the very first time. Thank you for staying with me. And until next time, here's to new beginnings. Much love.